Despite these extraordinary times, it seems some commentators and political rivals are more than happy to take potshots at the Victorian government. Overnight, Steve Price, a regular on the project, tweeted, "Victorians today feeling totally let down by everyone from Premier Andrews and all his colleagues down. While the rest of the nation returns to normal, this state heads to a harsh lockdown, destroying businesses and causing death and despair. Disgraceful failure." Ben, isn't this totally outrageous to be blaming the Premier for these tragic deaths?
Well, I think it's pretty much on brand for Pricey. I mean, he's a dickhead, and whilst he dilute his generally I like Pricey, and I feel like he has a place on the project because he kind of balances the project out sometimes, which seems a little too left for my liking. So I think, Pricey is good in that role. But what help is he offering us with a tweet like this? I mean, just pointing the finger and being downright rude is not really helping anyone in this situation. I just have this feeling at the moment, if you've got a platform and you've got something to say, then feel free to say it, but also back it up with maybe a suggestion. What's wrong with these people getting out there and just jumping on board and pointing at fingers and saying you're doing a bad job? Well, what are you going to do that's any better, mate? I mean, writing a tweet like that is not going to do anything for Victoria's morale.
I have said time and time again that I think the premiers of all political persuasions are doing a great job under very trying circumstances. Was Steve Price saying this about Gladys Berejiklian in Sydney with the Ruby Princess when the infection happened? Mistakes have been made, and it's not by the actual premiers themselves. The fact is, Dan Andrews did not go and sleep with people in a quarantine hotel. Dan Andrews did not go and infect other people. But, it wasn't just Steve Price attacking the Premier. Media tart Tim Smith is back at it again, attacking Dan Andrews, this time on a Sydney radio station.
Daniel Andrews has declared a disaster because it is a disaster caused by him and his ministers. I mean, let's just be frank. These ministers and Daniel Andrews have blood on their hands. They have so monumentally failed the people of Victoria. People are dying. People are dying because of their total and utter criminal negligence with regards to hotel quarantine and then their inability to perform basic contact tracing over the last couple of weeks.
Tim Smith, I'm not going to be very articulate here. Piss off. You are an absolute disgrace. You were the ones having a go at Dictator Dan for not allowing people to go out. You were the one saying Victorians should be roaming free. If we were under your premiership, the state would be in worse situation than it was because this virus would have spread like nobody's business. You are an absolute political opportunist and a disgrace. Robbo, do you think there's a place for a dickhead like this guy?
Well, no, I don't. I would have liked this, like you mentioned before with Ruby Princess, I would have liked a little more attention put on that as well because we're all in this together. I know that Victoria is in different lockdown, but where is this massive attention from the Murdoch press as well regarding the Ruby Princess? It's almost been like it's kind of forgotten, even though it was a massive, huge blunder, worse than...
But Gladys Berejiklian is not responsible for those deaths.
I know that, but where is the kickback? Daniel Andrews is not responsible for these deaths either. I agree with what you said.
Yeah, that's it.
So why isn't Gladys getting ripped in the Murdoch press? Why isn't the Ruby Princess even a much bigger story? So far, it's the highest killer, I believe, in the country. I think sadly and unfortunately over the next couple of weeks and months that the aged care facilities, especially in Victoria, will overtake that very sad number. But it's unfair, it's unproductive. And the great thing there is it would have been nice if we, he could bag it out, another politician, another political party, but at the same time, maybe chuck in a little bit of a solution there, or what you would have done, or what you think, really kind of actually don't just sit there and go, he's got blood on his hands and blah, 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 blah. It almost sounded like he was reading out of the political... Why not?
But he can't, Robbo. This is the problem, is that when you are a Sunday morning quarterbacker, which is an American term for somebody who sits back and waits for real people to do things, and then you pull it apart while you're sitting there on your couch, it's a very fun game to play. And that's the reason why people play it. So for him, who loves his Twitter and loves saying outrageous things, it's all very well and good to sit back and point the fingers and be like a dog with a bone and, hanging on to this whole quarantine, hang on to whatever he can. But it's just downright irresponsible. And at the end of the day, if he does want to be the premier of this state, I don't necessarily think that this childish behaviour is the correct way for him to win over the public.
Well, he obviously wants to be the premier of the state. What is interesting, though, he's not trying to talk to the people of Victoria. He's going on a Sydney radio station. This is all the hallmarks of just trying to get press for himself that you can ever see. I mean, the guy is an absolute joke, isn't he?
Yeah, fantastic point.
Yeah,
well, 3AW should be his first point of call in other radio stations, obviously like Triple M and things like that. But if you're talking about talkback, 3AW should be the absolute first port of call for a state Victorian MP. Why you would instead give an interview to 2GB in Sydney, you're right, it just reeks of political opportunism and just trying to get my face and my name out there again. I've got to apologise there. He did eventually appear on 3AW with Neil Mitchell, but he certainly went to 2GB first.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo